January 28, 2025, the Maryland Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee convened to discuss a critical issue: the training of child custody evaluators. Tina Swithin, a vocal advocate, delivered a passionate testimony for proper training in order to prevent the many horror stories that she has heard.
Tina, you're up.
My name is Tina Swithin, and for over a decade, my organization has supported child safety legislation across the country. And SB 25 is a very important bill for Maryland. Custody evaluators wield incredible influence over children's lives, and they strongly influence judicial decisions. Every single week, I hear stories of horrific abuse and children being murdered in preventable tragedies all across our country. And it's fundamental that anyone making decisions that impacts a child's life has training in domestic violence, child neglect, abuse, and trauma. It's common sense, and we need to raise the bar. And you're likely going to hear opposition advocating for the inclusion of parental alienation.
It is crucial to move beyond the polarizing rhetoric surrounding parental alienation and focus on the broader issue at hand: parent-child contact problems. This term encompasses a spectrum of behaviors and dynamics that can lead to a child's unjustified resistance or refusal to maintain a relationship with a parent. These dynamics can include, but are not limited to, a parent undermining the child's relationship with the other parent, a child's unfounded fear or dislike of a parent, or a child's alignment with one parent against the other without justification. Recognizing and addressing parent-child contact problems is not about labeling parents as alienators or victims. It is about understanding the complex factors that can contribute to a child's resistance to contact and developing interventions to repair and preserve the parent-child bond. Ignoring these issues can have devastating consequences for children, including emotional distress, mental health problems, and damaged relationships with both parents. It is essential to approach these cases with sensitivity, nuance, and a commitment to evidence-based practices. This includes recognizing that parent-child contact problems can occur in families with or without a history of domestic violence.
A pseudo-scientific concept rejected by major medical organizations.
Swithin's central argument hinges on the dismissal of parental alienation as a junk science concept. She claims, without providing credible evidence, that the term lacks scientific validity and has been widely discredited. This assertion, however, misrepresents the current state of family science. Swithin is not being honest. While the term parental alienation has indeed sparked debate, the underlying phenomenon of children being unjustly turned against a parent is well documented in the scientific literature. The authors of the DSM-5 write that parental alienation is included under child affected by parental relationship distress and is coded as Z62.898. Parental alienation is also recognized by the APA in its custody evaluator guidelines and the AFCC in its custody evaluator guidelines. The AFCC even mentions that evaluators who lack expertise in alienating behaviors are ethically obligated to decline the evaluation. It is simply incorrect to state that parental alienation isn't recognized by major medical organizations.
And in 2023, the UN Special Rapporteur urged a global ban on parental alienation, which is a legal strategy in family courts, exposing it as a pseudoscience used by abusers to discredit mothers' domestic violence claims.
Swithin further contends that introducing parental alienation into evaluator training would be detrimental to children. She posits that it would lead to evaluators overlooking genuine instances of domestic violence or child abuse. This argument relies on a false dichotomy, suggesting that recognizing one form of harm necessitates ignoring another. In reality, competent evaluators are trained to consider all forms of family dysfunction, including abuse, neglect, and unjustified rejection of a parent. Swithin's attempt to conflate parental alienation with the silencing of abuse victims is a manipulative tactic designed to evoke fear and shut down critical discussion. To support her opinion, Swithin cites the UN Special Rapporteur report, which called on a global ban of parental alienation in family courts. Contrary to her representations, this report was a personal opinion and not the official stance of the UN Human Rights Council. She also neglects to mention that this report was strongly criticized by the scientific community for research bias and unethical practices. By misrepresenting the concept and its implications, she undermines efforts to equip evaluators with the knowledge and skills to protect children from all forms of harm.
And the only people opposing child-centric legislation are those who are financially benefiting from the status quo or those exploiting systemic flaws for personal gain.
The inclusion of parent-child contact problems in child custody evaluator training is not about promoting a particular ideology or taking sides in a contentious debate. Swithin presents a strawman argument that only people who have a financial gain oppose child-centric legislation. This ad hominem attack misses the point, Tina. Proponents of alienation support custody evaluator training, provided that parental alienation is added to the training. Without specific mention of alienation, advocates like Swithin can twist the training to exclude alienation from family courts. The inclusion of parent-child contact problems is about equipping evaluators with the knowledge and skills to protect children's best interests. Evaluators must be able to recognize the signs of parent-child contact problems, differentiate them from other forms of family dysfunction, and recommend appropriate interventions. Numerous studies and expert consensus support the importance of addressing parent-child contact problems in custody evaluations. For example, a comprehensive review of the scientific literature by Kelly and Johnston in 2001 concluded that children who resist contact with a parent experience significant emotional and psychological harm. By providing evaluators with comprehensive training on parent-child contact problems, we can ensure that they are equipped to make informed recommendations that prioritize children's best interests. Failing to do so leaves children vulnerable to ongoing harm and perpetuates a system that is ill-equipped to address a significant and growing problem. Tina Swithin's testimony ultimately hinders efforts to protect children by promoting misinformation and fear-mongering. It is time to move beyond the rhetoric and focus on evidence-based solutions that prioritize children's well-being.